order. If you'll please rise for the flag salute. Mr. Oden, would you please?
Put your right hand over your heart, ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And the city attorney's report, please, on the matters discussed in closed session.
Thank you. The City Council met to consider the items listed in the agenda, beginning with item number 1, conference with real property negotiator on the Jazz Hall of Fame. Staff provided an update. No reportable action was taken. Council met also on item number 2 with real property negotiator on the Spa Hotel and Casino DDA. Again, staff provided an update. No reportable action was taken. As to item number 3, the council met with the real property negotiator regarding land adjacent to Sunrise Village Mobile Home Park. Update was provided and no reportable action was taken. Item number 4, Acanto Drive and South Palm Canyon. Discussion was had, no reportable action was taken. Item number 1 on page 2, and the council met with the real property negotiator to consider the status which was provided by the by staff, and no reportable action was taken. Item number 2, the council met considering the visitors center and discussed an update, and no reportable action was taken. Again, on item number 3, the council considered the trail easement acquisition and provided direction, but no reportable action was taken. And as to item number 4, the city council met concerning the Palm Springs Unified School District and Desert Healthcare District, and was provided an update by staff, and no reportable action was taken. The city council also met to consider existing litigation, including the item number 1, DWA versus City of Palm Springs. Discussion was held and no reportable action was taken. And an update on item number 2 was provided, the El Dorado Palm Springs LTD v. City of Palm Springs, and no reportable action was taken. The city council also met as to one case on exposure to potential litigation, and that was discussed under Government Code Section 54956.9 B1 and 3AB, as well as 3AE, and did not meet on the second on any other potential cases. Thank you very much.
Let me begin by saying that the mayor is not here tonight. He is on vacation. I'm sure he made those plans before we had decided to extend into the month of August. Right now, we will have public comment. Anyone that would like to come and make comments to the city council within the jurisdiction of the entities, please come forward. You have 3 minutes. Hi.
Hi.
Have a seat, Shelley.
Thank you. My name's Shelley. It's on. My name's Shelley Saunders. I reside at 2295 Tamarisk Road in Palm Springs, and I'm here to talk about the skate park. And I just want to emphasize that I could have probably had 1,000 people here this evening to show their support and their anxiousness on this project.
You're evidently not on.
All the green lights on,
No, it's
Dana?
not close enough. You just came in from TV, that's why.
Okay, can they hear me now? Can you? Okay.
Sorry.
So I just, like I said, I'm probably representing thousands of families in the Palm Springs area that are very, very anxious for this project. people in this community are looking forward to having a skate park. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Are we having a technical problem, Larry? Oh, okay. Hi, Grace. Just a second.
Hello, everybody. I should know better than to have Shelley Saunders precede me because she stole my thunder. I'm Grace Jablow. I live at 1340 Primavera Drive in Palm Springs. I'm a 47-year resident of Palm Springs and currently serve on the Parks and Recreation Commission. The skateboard park has been quite a project. We've been delayed at many turns, not through any fault of our own, but it's been about 3 years that we've been working on this thing. And when I talk to people, they say, "What's happened to the skate park? Is it dead?" I said, no, it's still going. We're at the point now where we're just about ready to send out bids, and this thing is really going to become a reality. And I commend the City Council for agreeing to go with the Cadillac version rather than the Toyota or Ford version, whatever. It's really going to be spectacular, and I think it will put Palm Springs on the map. And I didn't like the criticism we got from the Desert Sun editorial saying that we were dragging our feet and Indio is doing so much better and so much faster. So I urge you, please, as Shelley said, put this on the fast track. It's something that we need, and I think something that will really put Palm Springs on the map. When you see the design plans, if you haven't seen them already, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, we will close public comments. Council comments? Questions? Moving right along here. City Manager?
Madam Mayor, I would yield my comments for the study session topics.
Okay. And we will begin with the skate park.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, members of council, it's with a certain amount of excitement that we're ready to bring before you this evening the design. Our hope this evening is that if you approve the design of the skate park, that will allow us to go ahead and get this thing in its final phase of the bidding and actually moving forward. We have with us this evening the architectural firm, actually it's called Site Design Group. They're from Arizona. One of the things they specialize in is skate parks, and that is one of the reasons why they've been tapped to do this particular job. We have this evening, actually his name is Mike McIntyre and his staff. Scott Mikesell will introduce him in a few moments. But I would just note that what we're asking tonight is your approval on the design in theory, and then we'll move forward with the next phase, which we hope will have an opening day in the spring. Second, we will review the budget figures, exactly where we are in terms of our current revenue and what the construction costs will be. And then finally, the fundraising effort is now pretty much ready to be put into place, and we will also have the brochures that will be mailed to the citizens. So with that, Scott Mikesell, could you come forward, please? And we will begin on the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, Scott.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. And thank you, Mr. Reddy. As David pointed out, we have the president of Site Design Group, Mr. Michael McIntyre, and his project manager, Karen Wonders, here. They're going to do a PowerPoint presentation of the design to date. It has been through the Planning Commission. It's now been addressed at the Design Review Committee twice, and we are probably in the neighborhood of 60% complete with construction drawings, and based upon council comments this evening and the remaining staff comments that we expect from the planning department, we're just about ready to finalize the project, put together the construction drawings, and then go to bid. And it's our hope that we will be able to put the project into the bid phase on the track that we're looking at and having a bid award probably sometime in November. That's the current schedule, and to date we've met pretty much all of our schedules along those lines. After we go through the project design, then I'll brief you on where we're at with fundraising efforts and the current budget. So at this stage, I'll have Mike McIntyre come on up, and then his assistant, or actually not his assistant, our project manager, Karen Wonders. She'll run the PowerPoint presentation, and I suppose feel free to ask questions at any point during their presentation, and then I'll just shut up for right now. Mike?
Thank you, Scott. I think this is working. Well, before I get started with my presentation, I'd definitely like to let everyone know I'm very excited to be here. I think this is a definitely well-deserved project for the community of Palm Springs. And with the excitement, can guarantee you that, yes, we are fast-tracking this project. As fast as we're generating concepts, we're also paralleling it with construction drawings and paralleling the review comments at risk. So if there's great revisions or so on, it's at our cost to make sure that the project stays on track. Definitely not a firm that's going to bicker and oh, that's a change, this or that. We want to get this project done and done right. And most importantly, like all our skate park facilities around the world, we want to make sure that Palm Springs is in the magazines. It's great that NDO is racing, but what's going to happen after it's built for the next 20, 30 years? What are the comments and reviews going to be, for that particular facility? We want to make sure that even if it took this much time to get this park up and running, that it's going to stay on the test of time. It's going to be a timeless piece of architecture and serve the needs of the community for the next 20, 30 years is the goal. So I'm excited and pretty much can guarantee it's going to be one of the best parks in California. And we got the best staff and pros, including myself, working on the concept designs. With that being the case, I'll go straight into a quick master plan overview for the facility, and then inject certain team members to talk about the lighting, the shade structures. I'll talk a little bit about the skate park changes, equipment, and as Scott had mentioned, we do have 60% drawings delivered today for review at another time. Let's see if this clicker works here. To get familiar with the master plan, and it's changing as fast as we speak almost, but not in concept, in refinement. We've enhanced the entry drop-off area here at for the skate park. We're using integral color concrete paving, nice tree grades, trees, real nice architectural or landscape architectural entrance, shade structure, new restroom, and bathhouse building here, new ramp entrance. Skate park is now around 27,000 square feet. New pedestrian walkways, closed off fence here. There's no more access, north-south access here anymore. We have in the construction drawings done some proposed decorative fencing to incorporate a little bit of art into the fence panels, especially along the street here as well. And actually, I think it is in your 11 by 17 pamphlet on the fencing. You'll see some of the proposed design where we're going to go every 6 panels with something artistic in there. The skate park is going to be shaded with overhead shade structures and lighting on a cabled system that Ralph from Randall Lamb will talk about a little bit more. So this thing is going to be something sculptural, and I think of architectural significance for the city. Most recreational facilities, a ball field, tennis court, everything else is a flat, plain chain link fence or whatever, and pretty boring. We've got something that's sculptural, and we figured, hey, let's not do gray concrete. If you see in the 11 by 17, we're actually using integral color concrete, beige, desert, earth tones, real soft, less reflection, etc. for the skate park. We don't have Maxine or Rule from Interactive Design here to present the restroom and go over some of the architecture, but we do have the architect who will be taking over doing the construction drawings after this. So why don't we go into the PowerPoint presentation. In your booklet, we've left a lead behind here for further comments and reviews after tonight's meeting, which includes just once again an overview of the master plan, the building sections, the plan, elevations, perspectives, building materials done to date, open for discussion. And then we have the site plan, the hardscape materials, landscape, fencing, and site furnishings, kind of the flavor concept that we're proposing, lighting, the lighting elevations, diagrams, and what we're going to be doing with pool equipment and renovation, which is another major part of the project, going from DE to sand filtration and going from gas to liquid chlorination system, so it'll be a lot more updated filtration system. And also, I think what's nice about the design is because you are now getting an attraction, a visual attraction here, you're also creating a screen fence, and you can kind of see the pool, which is hiding behind the fence right now. So I think you'll get a lot more users of both facilities. Go ahead, Karen. We could probably go to the next. Well, why don't I just stop up here? Here's kind of the refined, skate park layout, which has, steps and ledges and more of a street alley and monuments and rails compared to the old concept. So that was some additional feedback from the community. So we do have a refined layout since the last presentation. Here's the walkway. We got benches for viewing areas, benches along the street here, offsets. And this is fenced off here. And we got a kind of a refined landscape plan as well. Go ahead. So you can see where the old skate park concept had a lot more open space that we've refined, through there. The building, to kind of familiarize ourselves, I kind of broke these down into color tones so you can see that's the actual physical blue or print of the building, the bathhouse facility. The diagram over here on the left kind of calls out the different areas. This is where the women's showers are, the women's restroom, the men's restroom, men's shower. Here's a restroom for the skaters that are going to enter from the entry plaza to the outside, so we won't have conflicting users in the same building. There is a swimmer entry going into the plaza, and then there's also a skater entry on this side over here, and this is a concession slash restroom. Concession office space for both the skate park and pool observation as well. And there is a ADA accessible ramps going up and down stairs, and then planter, and kind of a pool plaza that overlooks the pool. So you have a big open observation plaza. This is just showing the colors in context to the site plan. These were some of the earlier elevations. We haven't had any updates on it. If you look in your booklet, we do have a material selection. And this is definitely a topic for discussion about some of the block designs and concepts. Next one. There are some more views of the building and the shade structure. The proposed rooftop is going to be a fiber cement panels. Those are the field blocks that are proposed. There's going to be some stucco. The steel posts and trusses are going to be like a darker beige rust color. And this is white, black, and a blue accent tiles in the building. Looking at the site plan, we're looking at, for the skate park, using an integral color concrete, which will all be kind of smooth trowel flash finish. It didn't translate too well digitally, but you can kind of see the earth tone colors. The pedestrian walkways are all proposed to be integral color concrete with exposed aggregate to prevent skateboarding and skating. So it's going to be a rougher finish, but will meet ADA, so with heavier score joints. So when if you try to push your skateboard in the plaza, you can. It's too rough. So that's how we're trying to delineate. This is not for skating. This is where you want to be skating. And then we're going to alternate the colors of the panels through the plaza in that radial fashion that meets the radius of the building, with monument signage out here. Oh boy. The planting plan we have. Do we? Okay. Gonna leave this up here, but what we were thinking about doing, and this is, we took this out of the construction drawing, so graphically it doesn't read too well from there, but we're gonna have a radial row of Acacia neura, which is more of a silvery leafed material. They are good patio, good shade tree, smaller fashion, not too obtrusive, in a very upright growing, more of a columnar fashion. So this would be the architectural theme. We'd have actual tree grates that would be exposed aggregate matching the paving color in the tree. So it'd look like the trees are extruding right out of the paving. Then we have a row of trees along. We're proposing an additional row of trees along the street side here in the turf, which would be an an evergreen ash tree there. Softer leaves, if they do blow or spill into the skate park, it won't be dangerous, and also they are going to be evergreen, so and we won't have deciduous trees as well. And then we're thinking, because of a mower and other things would be very difficult here for grass, this is all going to be decomposed granite with a lot more desert landscape through here, more accent agaves and also desert spoons and some other accent shrubs through this area, and then keeping the pool side a little bit more lush with a lot of ground cover and shade and accent shrubs through this area. And this would be just repair the existing turf around the street here with inline the skate park with trees as well. Here you can see the fence. We're looking at approximately a 6-foot high fence. We're going to use a wrought iron fence, and then also maybe every 6 panels or so change it up, or have the gate with some rolled steel panels and some silhouettes of some skaters. So it kind of shows what the facility is. Going with the exposed kind of aggregate theme at the entrance and so on, we're also looking at maybe using similar materials for the drinking fountain, for the trash receptacles, and the edge treatments of the benches as well. We have some bike racks in there. And we're also looking at doing a cast-in-place wall. It's going to be more of a radial fashion, and that's to be located right here in the entrance that just comes right off the walkway into the landscape. So you have the wall, the signage, and then you have trees coming up from behind it, and then accent shrubs in front of the signage. I think it's really important that when you come to the entrance and the drop-off, it says what you're arriving at for the skate park and aquatic facility. I'm going to introduce you to Ralph with Randall Lamb, who's the lighting consultant, and talk a little bit about the theme for the overhead shade structures and lighting system. So.
Good evening, Mr. Rea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me get this set up.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Ralph Rea with Randall Lamb. Office is here in Palm Springs at 1255 East Ramon Road. Before I actually go into the illustration on the PowerPoint, actually what I'd like to do is just talk about the issues that were confronted to us in terms of how we light a high-speed activity like skate parks, and skate park being an athletic field, except unlike athletic fields, the activity actually is depressed into the ground. So up to 6 or 8 feet, depending upon the critical nature of a specific stunt or activity. As you all know, our current lighting ordinances states that the lighting fixtures in facilities like this should only be no more than 18 feet. Historically, in facilities like this, the lighting fixtures generally was placed at 25 or 30 feet so that they could create higher angles to get the light inside the bowls and create even illumination not only at the surface but down into the pools, if you will. The fact that our ordinance does not allow us to go to those heights, we were started to study the 18-foot design. And what we found quickly is that we couldn't light the bowls evenly, and we potentially created high angles of light that could be construed as glare off-site, neighboring properties, the roads, and around Sunrise Park. So we had to develop a different concept, and we studied the facility and determined that if we were going to build this facility indoors, the best place for the lighting was going to be right above each of the activity areas. And so we started to explore how we put the light inside the facility at a much lower mounting height. And the mounting height that we've targeted at this point is 16 feet. In order to do that, we developed a plan that utilizes poles around the perimeter of the project. And on this pole, we started to run aircraft cable across from pole to pole. That afforded us the opportunity to suspend the lights directly over the activity, shield the lights, so that we concentrated light in the activity area without throwing light off-site or creating issues of glare. We also started looking at what the national standards, and there's really no standards for skateboard park lighting, but the way skateboard lighting parks were lit in the past were with a white light or a metal halide light, a very similar light that would be used for softball fields, Demuth Park, Angel Stadium, and we all know how much glare that produces into our night sky. So we started to explore high pressure sodium, and that's illustrated on this photograph here. The upper one being the metal halide and the high pressure sodium being down below, which is the amber light. Typically you see that in all of our parking lots, generally in the city. It's a much softer light and produces less contrast against the dark sky in the desert here. That led us to understand that we would be able to really light the facility properly, create the foot candles that we needed, but not be the 30-foot candles, which is generally the level of light that's produced when you're much higher poles. We would drop that level down because we could contain it into a much shorter area or a smaller area. At that point, we started to look at how this park was going to be used. We knew it was going to be used at night. That was a purpose for lighting this. We also knew that it was going to be used during the day, during the summer months. So we continued to explore the possibility of installing a second cable. So we'd have two lines of cables, one to support the lights, and the upper cable really to support shade structures. So now we can come through here and put shade over a large percentage of the skateboard area, so that during the day, like today, we're actually keeping it cool to some respects. So now we have kids out here being able to use this during the heat of the day and at least not being exposed completely to the sun. So that was really a benefit that we kind of backed into, that it made this facility more user-friendly for much longer periods of time. The other issue that developed and became a real advantage is at night, when we do have this facility lit and with our suspended light fixtures, that these shade structures become reflectors of light to help contain the light within the facility and reduce the amount of light that's being reflected off of the surfaces of the skate park facility into the night sky. So it really contains the light within this facility. One of the things we're also exploring, rather than just creating a flat level of shade structure, is actually to put varying pole heights so that the shade structure itself is actually canted a little bit, so that there's an interesting ceiling, if you will, across the whole facility. And that's best illustrated up on these two photographs, and they're not very large. So I'm going to pass this around and let you take a look at these. But essentially, this shade structure is a project that we did in San Diego, and you'll see it's each of the elements are canted a little bit. This is a project on the right, which is in South Carolina, where the shade structure is also canted, but you can see the lighting effect that it ultimately created here. These are just some other examples of how the shade structure could potentially work within the facility. So ultimately, as this photograph shows here, this illustration is that we're able to contain the light within the facility with having very little light leave into the skyline or onto the property, so people driving by the facility would not be distracted from the glare of light, but they would be attracted to the effect of the light on the shade structures or the actual surfaces. And then, of course, during the day, the shade structure provides sufficient sunlight or shielding so that it can be used in the hot summer months. So, that's it. This concept for skateboard parks has not ever been used that we know. This would be a new direction for us and for the industry. So we're looking to this be very very effective.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
yes, I have a question.
Yes.
When you talk about the lighting, which one are you actually recommending? The high-pressure sodium or the halide?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear there. We are recommending the high-pressure sodium so that we reduce the nighttime contrast of the white light. We don't want this facility to be the Angel Stadium or Demuth Park. We want it to be contained. We would use the high-pressure sodium so that we reduce the contrast at night.
Okay, that leads me to my second question. I appreciate the fact about the containment and, the night skies, but I am concerned about the safety. Can the skater see better?
We will produce sufficient foot candles in our terms in
Yeah,
the
we've been
industry.
through those foot candles before.
Okay. that we will have sufficient light on the skateboard facility to eliminate any kind of safety problems. In fact, what we're actually doing is we're creating a better lighting system because we're creating a much more even area of illumination. So yeah, we've taken that into consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have a question for Mr. Rea? Okay, Scott?
Great, thanks.
Now we'll talk about microphone equipment. They make the switch.
Thanks. Karen, you want to hit the next slide? Okay, the next item on the master plan is the filtration, heater, and chlorination system. And to kind of reiterate, so everybody knows the location for the heater, pump, everything else is in this area right here in the existing equipment room here. And then we'll be adding the new sand filtration system and liquid chlorination system on the other side of the fence there. And what I'll probably do is make Scott talk about the cost estimate.
I get the good part, I guess. Before we leave the mechanical end, the pool filtration systems, it's not really the most glorious part of this project, but it's really a very important part of the project that hasn't been discussed quite a bit. But currently the pool is not in compliance with regulatory standards with respect to the chlorine system and the filtration system, and we were put on notice and gave a certain period of time to correct those, and that's part of what we're doing here. Additionally, it's our intent to lower our manual operating costs, because currently we have to send a gentleman over there for about 3 or 4 hours a day to clean out the filter system, to manually check on the chemical injections and that. With this new system, it'll all be completely automated. Not 100%, but vastly improved over what we currently have. The filtration system is essentially standalone. It operates all by itself, flushes and backwashes and does all of those things that like real pools do, which ours is somewhat dated in that it's 27 years old over there. And we're really quite thrilled about getting some heaters that work. Those have been on hold for quite some time with respect to this project. And the fire department will love us when we get rid of the gas chlorine, because that is a potential hazard that we have to monitor constantly, and going to the liquid chlorine will save a substantial sum. We'll get into the budget issues. Towards the end of this, there's a proposed project estimate. The water filtration system at this stage of the game, the cost estimates for that essentially have not changed since day one. So that's estimated to be $200,000 as a total, and it's broken down as shown there. Demolition of the building, the hardscape, and removal of the trees in the area that are immediately south of the building. Those costs are highlighted at $56,000. All of the site work that you see comes in at a total of $125,000. I believe that's correct. And those are various components of the project: site prep, the fencing, the landscape needs, the hardscape retaining walls that we're proposing to build, and then the lighting system. And then the skate park itself, the actual concrete, is at $400,000. I think I misspoke, because I believe those central items don't all add up to 125. I think it's a little bit more than that. And then the building renovations. Currently, one of the things that drove this project from day one was the fact that the existing building is not within current code compliance, so or seismic compliance. So we are expanding the size of the locker rooms and the restrooms to meet the capacities for the facility, upgrading them to ADA compliance. Currently, I think I have this right, but for ADA reasons, if you want to utilize a facility, you have to go through, the ladies have to go through the men's area to get to the ladies' locker room, vis-a-vis a wheelchair. Well, that's all going to change. There's going to be viewing areas, a patio pavilion, and the building office structure will operate as a concession stand. And also we're going to have a sufficient view shed to the east and west where they can monitor both the pool and the skate facility. The way it will be controlled is that we'll have electronic gates on each side to where you can go in one side and go into the pool, and the other side you'll be able to go into the skate park, and that'll be controlled from that central office building. Those are all part of the building renovations that we're looking at. And then the last item that's shown there, all of those improvements total $1,379,475 at our current estimate. And then we have the cost of what our general condition bonds are. Those are estimated for the construction of the project at about $234,511. And the total project cost for construction at this stage of the game is $1,613,000. Now, when we were at the council in December of last year, our proposed total cost estimate was about $1,760,770, right in there. That included at that point the cost of doing the construction drawings and essentially hiring Site Design Group to put the project together. And we are within that number with both of those included. So with that, that's where we're at with our construction or estimates. And then if we can talk about the revenue. Where are we going to get the money from, folks? That's
What we're passing out now is
That's
two things. One, the completed brochure for the fundraising, and attached to that is the list of the revenue projections of where we are in terms of the actual construction cost. Okay, Scott, you want to walk us through? Thank you.
okay. Excuse me. So where are we going to get the money from? The first page highlights for you what our current source of funds are. And these are bankable dollars, I can report to you. We allocated through the Capital Projects Fund several years ago $170,000 for the pool filtration. To date, we've received $50,000 worth of tribal donations. Excuse me. The council issued some time ago a community challenge grant of $50,000 towards the project. We have the state Proposition 12 grant. That's a per capita allocation based upon the population of the community. That's $395,000. We have another community block grant allocation coming through the state. That's $126,656. The Measure Y loan that the commission recommended and council approved last year was $500,000. That's been appropriated. Through the most recent budget, the capital projects appropriation of $200,000 goes towards the project. To date, we've received private individual donations of $4,450. And what I'd like to highlight today that's shown as new is I received a check today from the Anderson Children's Foundation. I actually have it in my pocket. I wanted to show you a check. We have a check for $20,000 that we received today. In addition
Excuse me,
to that,
Scott,
we
could you pass that to the clerk? Thank you.
And we're working on some other, hopefully exciting announcements in the near future for some folks that are very interested in the project. All of that said, we believe we have $1,516,106 in the bank for this project to date. Additionally, we've got applications pending of over $1 million. Now, whether or not we get any of these, we're not listing them. We're showing you that we have applied for them diligently through the National Park Service. There's a Land and Water Conservation Grant. Now, they have expressed some interest in us. They've talked to us twice about the project, which they normally don't do in case they're interested. We've also solicited funds through the federal government from both Senator Boxer and Congresswoman Bono. And then coming later on this year, there's another per capita grant program that's going to be made available to us. We apply for it this fall. It's called State Proposition 40 per capita grant, and that is $225,000. So all of those total up to $1,075,000 if we were to get them. We're not committed to using any of them specifically for the skate park, but they would be available if we get those. But just to let you know, staff has been, we're out there looking for money. So on the second sheet of paper with you, this is where we get into what we've already spent on this project. And there are 5 areas that we've expended funds in. We did some site survey work, and we prepared the conceptual drawings through Interactive Design Corporation. That's shown there. We've done some printing and publishing costs with the brochure that you see before you. And that was at a substantially reduced cost, too, because the publisher, Ace Printing, came forward with a great price for us in exchange for a level of sponsorship. We have 50,000 of those that we received today for what you see before you. And we've got a topographical survey that has been done. It was allocated at 10,000. We haven't expended near that. And then we could probably do the soils work on that. And then the folks that are here tonight, you see what their contract cost is listed too, so that's already been expended. Our total expenses to date, $210,177. So our current project balance is $1,305,929. And then we have 2 lower on the sheet, with and without the cost of bonding, because that is to a degree a decision that the council can weigh in on. So we either have a estimated construction cost of $1,379,475 or $1,613,986 for the whole project. So we take basically A and subtract B and what we've spent to date. Excluding the cost of bondings, we have a deficit to date of $73,546. That's pretty good. And with the bonds, it's a little over $300,000 at $308,057. So the challenge before our commission and staff is to raise somewhere between a little over $70,000 and $300,000 towards the end of this project, and then we're off and running. Now, before you is the brochure that I mentioned earlier. We've had 50,000 of these produced, and as I said, we received them today. It's our intent to mail them out to all the businesses and all the people within the community. There's been a significant level of interest ever since day one. I've gotten a lot of phone calls about this, but we, to date, have not really had anything that we could wrap our arms around as a project. Well, tonight you saw it. We have a complete project where, as the designer says, we're 60% of the way towards development of the construction drawings, so we are very real. It's timely, too, in the time of the year that we would be mailing this out when people are going to be returning to Palm Springs this fall. And we've also got the possibility, I think I can announce it, that a major soft drink manufacturer is interested in sponsoring, giving us a significant donation towards the project. I can't really say who, but it's one of the two big folks. You can figure it out for yourself. And then we've also got a local service club here in the community who's contacted me about doing a major fundraising to be held in later October or November, that they want to dedicate their proceeds towards the skate park, and they historically have raised about $20,000 to $25,000 on that project. So the commission will be handing these out as well at Village Fest and various other events. We're trying to put together a demonstration with professional skaters. Our local skate shop here in town is coming forward to try and put that together for us so that we can have a ceremony, present the project, and then hopefully have some donations follow at that stage too. So that's where we're at today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or have the folks from Site Design do the same.
Council?
Yes, Madam Mayor?
Yes.
My first question is, what was the estimated time of completion and staffing?
Staffing once it's open.
Yes.
Our current, we would have to increase to some degree staffing only because of the hours. We're not looking at putting any additional people in the kiosk other than what it takes right now to open the swim center. The hours of operation would go to 10 p.m. We currently operate the pool till about 6 or 7 p.m. at night. But then that would be our additional potential cost there if we can't reschedule the individuals to do that. We're currently looking at that. That is, we're not looking at hiring additional bodies by any means to operate the skate park. The design dictates, or we have dictated to the design, I guess, from day one, that we want to operate it from that central location and not incur additional staffing costs for that. Maintenance of the facility, because it's concrete, is not going to require a substantial amount of maintenance for us within the Parks Division either. The other question?
Estimated time of completion.
The estimated time of completion is between 6 to 9 months, depending on how we allow the contractor to proceed. If and it depends on timing of the year too. If we go in there and just say, okay, you can take the whole facility and we won't worry about the pool, our estimate at this stage of the game is that it would take at least 6 months from start to finish. We're not going to know exactly those figures, Mr. Oden, until the contractors come back to us, because there are various disciplines associated with it. But one of the key components is we have to shut the whole facility down once we begin work on the pool filtration equipment. And the contractors there are going to have to tell us how much time that is going to take. Obviously, while we're doing the demolition of the building and the exterior work around the perimeter, such as on the skate park, we can still keep the pool open as long as we can secure the area, keep people from coming into the pool. And but we're going to have to rely upon the construction folks to tell us what the best method is. Then those options would be presented to the council down the road when we provide you with the bid packages to exactly what the time is. But it's somewhere between that 6 month period and a maximum of 9 months, depending on what the requirements we impose on the contractors are.
And I know it's difficult for you to estimate now because we don't really have the experience, but I'm a little concerned about the office and the observation of both facilities, the number of people that we think at this time that can handle that operation with increased activity. So that's primarily why I was asking about staffing, because that may be something that we need to look at, and I think the earlier we can get some projections on that, the better.
Certainly. The one of the components that we're putting into this is, I don't have the pointer. Do you have a pointer? On the pool side, see if how good I am. Back in this location here is where I'm real steady tonight, aren't I, folks? Yeah. Boy, I'm not much of a marksman. That's where the person will sit. We're going to have video monitors that look back towards the pool in this location and then back towards the skate park in that location. So that will assist in viewing the skate park and the activities in the skate park. The pool is monitored by lifeguards already. And when we have just a staff person there, such as when the Piranhas or somebody like that is utilizing the pool, those folks have their own lifeguards. So we've incorporated video monitors into that so that when that person's at that station, they'll be able to view those and see the activity in the park.
So you won't actually have on the skateboard side any kind of monitors or supervision out?
No bodies, no sir. It'll be monitored from inside the kiosk, both visually because of glass exposure on what is the south side of the kiosk, and also video monitors shooting out into the park.
And that's a good idea. What if a fight breaks out?
We would handle it just like if a fight broke out now in the pool area. It doesn't.
But you don't
really
have anybody over in that area to, you have the person in the kiosk, if I'm understanding correctly.
They could easily gain access to it out the door. I mean, they have immediate access. It's not like it's a long ways away.
I appreciate the monitors and the observation deck, but we may need to look at some additional staffing at some point.
If
Just
it
wanna
would,
be open.
obviously, if it became a problem, we'd have to address it, yes.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Under demolition, you have trees, and you have units, $20 per unit, but you have quantity of 800. We're taking out 800 trees in the park?
No. I'd have to defer the quantity statement there to Mr. McIntyre. There's actually 15 trees to be affected in the area that would have to be removed. There's 12 pines, and I believe there's 3 eucalyptus that would have to come out of that area.
They're replanted.
We've looked at replanting them, and we've got a cost proposal that we've received specifically to the pine trees. Now, if the bids allow it when they come back in, we will definitely work towards trying to save those. There are the 12 Aleppo pines, and the bid that we received is about $45,000 to box those trees, relocate them to another area within the park or the city. But that just becomes a dollar number at that point. The folks tell us that they can buy trees of a very close size to that for that kind of money for less money. They're about 20-some foot tall, but you can buy a 14-foot Aleppo pine, and we can get 12 of them, huge box trees for less than that, but we at least did investigate it.
I have another question in reference to the trees that you have proposed here. Mulga, acacia, and Nora. If this is what I think it is, I have one of these in my backyard, and it is messy. those little yellow flowers fall off, the leaves fall off. I mean, it is a messy tree. So I would maybe, if it's the same one, I would kind of question that one. And then I have to ask a question in reference to the funding. Last year, we approved the $500,000 loan from the Measure Y. What happens if the utility tax goes away in November? We no longer have Measure Y.
That would be, Madam Mayor, that would be an issue that we would have to deal with. What I would note here is the shovel will not go in the ground until January, in essence, by the time the bids are back and everything of that nature. First of the year, shovel's in the ground. If for some reason council wants to change their mind and put a halt to the project or modify it, we still would be able to do so at that time.
Well, I would think we would have to have that option, because if the utility tax that goes down, is approved and we no longer have a utility tax, we're going to have to look at everything, every option that's available. And certainly this is one that we were obviously counting on because we had Measure Y a couple of years ago, but that could go away. I hope it doesn't, but it's certainly something we need to take a look at.
Council will be asked to approve these final contracts for construction after the election.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Oden.
I think Dana raises a good point, and that's one of the reasons why that cannot happen. This issue has come before the public on numerous occasions in the
Right.
past 10 years, and we recently took an action to designate, and that was done by the community.
Right.
And I think that as long as we have active community groups and they're talking to the community and expressing that, we won't have to worry about it, because we want to move forward. That's our goal.
I need to make a comment. This is just a personal observation on this, is that I don't like the fence. One of the things that I particularly like about the dog park is the fence. I mean, I think it makes it special, interesting, unique.
Oh, sorry.
More expensive, is that what you said? Yeah. But I just think this looks like a jail. The other panel is okay, and in this little brochure, that's what it looks like the whole fence is that way. But this says every 6 panels. It's just my own personal feeling, and I just needed to say that for myself, because I don't have any artistic talent, but I needed to make that comment.
Madam Mayor, I think you make a good comment. Out in Palm Desert at the golf course out there,
The Willows?
the Willows,
Uh-huh.
they have wrought iron, then they have mountains, metal mountains, and it's beautiful. It just breaks it up. You don't see the fence. You're looking at the little pieces
The
of, art. So maybe something like that could be done too. It's not inexpensive,
Well,
because I know we checked on it for the dog park, but
this looks like a lot of wrought iron. So,
Madam Mayor, perhaps what we could do is explore the options of doing more frequently these types of panels. Because, that's what we did in essence to make the dog park unique and the other one that you like. And we do have an option here. Maybe we just need a couple of options to repeat.
sorry, Scott.
With the cost estimate.
Oh, no need to apologize. That's why we're here.
Otherwise, I think it's great. I think it's long awaited, certainly by the community and by us. So,
Madam Mayor?
yes.
Mr. Reddy, I think one of the requests that has come forward is the support in making sure that this happens in a timely fashion. So if we could develop some sort of timeline of when we expect things to take place, so that the community will know that we are moving forward. And I think will also assist in raising funds if they know that we need a designated amount of funds at different points. Okay.
Okay.
Madam Mayor? Scott, I'm going to probably ask some questions that you're going to want some help on, but let me first just
I guarantee it.
from a general standpoint, you had or it was mentioned that the toilet as you come in was designated as a skater toilet,
Correct.
and it's a single stall, and why is that the case versus allowing shared use of the toilet facilities? And then how do you keep skaters out of the swim center toilets, which you can walk right into very easily according to the plan?
What the plan doesn't show is there'll be an electronic gate at that location that is controlled by a buzzer on the inside of the kiosk. So it looks as though you can go through, but you won't be able to physically go through there unless you're buzzed through and allowed into the swim side of it. The single stall restroom I know about this. The single stall restroom out there is a unisex restroom that'll be used for both genders. In the event, you can see it from the bottom or the far left plan. In the event, the majority of the kids there are going to be male. In the event that particular restroom is busy, the kid could go up to the kiosk and say, I really need to use the restroom. They could get buzzed in, and the entrance has been redone to the male restroom, which is the southernmost rest area, to where it basically enters right there next to the gate, so it could be visually monitored. But the intent is not to allow the free exchange of traffic into the locker room area. That was one of the a real concern with the folks that utilize the pool. So there is a control point there that will be monitored by the person in the kiosk. Does that help?
Well, I mean, it helps me to understand what your thinking is. I just don't really agree with it. And I mean, I don't see how in a public facility that I would imagine is going to attract a lot of people, be they male or female, that one stall for the skate park is going to solve the problem. And I really think that although the use is mainly male, that separate male-female are appropriate. And so I don't think it's a problem to work it in what you've got there, but I think it's something that would be regretted at a later date. And to have to breach the security that you've set up because somebody needs to go to the bathroom and you don't have enough stalls is probably not what you really want to do.
Plus, you're going to have parents using that too.
Yes.
People sitting there watching their kids are going to be using that one.
So my suggestion would be male, female, and a minimum 2 stalls each, and which allows it to be, yeah. And I know that as money.
So it's just like my fence.
So we're back to the regular fence.
No, the fence is gone. Another comment is material-wise, I noticed the roof material is a corrugated fiber cement product, and which is that to have paint?
I'm going to defer this one.
I didn't think you'd get this one.
Is this on?
Yes.
Oh.
I might just yield my seat at this point if you'll
Probably
allow.
a good idea. Here it does.
Hi, I'm Bob Gilly. I'm with Atkins Benham. We're taking over for Rule on doing the contract documents for the project. And actually, I met with them today regarding the roof and the toilet area. So those are two things that are kind of in the works right now. The toilet doesn't need to be a handicapped room for one thing, so it's very large at this point and can be resized and have more than one, probably, but at this point it would be two, but maybe it can be made larger for more than two people to get in stalls in there. And it could be a male and female. The roof material is not final at this point. The way that the roof is curving and dropping in elevation, I think you understand that probably the best, is that the corrugations are not don't line up.
It's on my list.
So it's a faceted roof. And as the pieces come together, they don't knit together properly. So this is an area that we brought up to Rules project manager this morning, and we're looking into other alternative materials or a flat sheet that would be more of a tiling going from the roof down, like large sections of tile, or maybe even metal roof. So there are some options that we need to come back to you with on that.
I'm starting to feel more comfortable. And perhaps something to investigate would be, instead of gable, perhaps just one slope one way or the other. And
Yeah, the roof is rather complicated, so and changing so that there are points where one roof comes in and dies into the other one. They don't transition properly, and I think those areas are kind of the last that have been looked at, and so there will be some changes, I think, in how that roof is coming together.
okay.
Which will probably reduce the cost too.
Good, to pay for the bathrooms.
And I think the color, or to be able to have the potential of color is an important product. I mean, an important thing for this facility, given the type of facility it is, given the type of definition between the building that's next to and then what this is. I think it's appropriate.
Okay.
So
color on the roof.
and we've pretty much looked at. I mean, everything we've seen has had a roof with a bright color, and I always assumed that color was underneath as well as on top. Not really knowing, but just
No,
assuming.
the underneath would have to be painted. It's gray. It's ceramic
Mhm.
fiberboard, so it's gray color.
Yeah, well, and I still don't see how, as you mentioned, the corrugated pieces will not work. Just you can't make a rectangle of little things go into a curve. It
Well, and
just
then
isn't
you
gonna
have the
happen.
curves
Yeah,
with
it
the
just-
two, so it's,
yeah.
yeah, it's,
The other thing, or another thing, was I share the concern with Jeannie about the fence. There's simpler types of fences. The idea is to be able to see through it and to see the activity and generate the activity and the interest. And this is the fence that we're looking at is pretty Spartan, and there are other ways, which I'm sure you probably know, that are not necessarily expensive, that could help that. So I do agree that something needs to happen with the fence, and I also think that that there's the handrails, the way the rails work, and the way it lacks a sense of refinement to me. It can be a very attractive and playful thing, but it's not at least what we're looking at. There are other detail things which I'll talk to you later with, or the planning department, either one. But I would like a little input on that. But the other, or two other items. When we looked at the original project, the street trees at Ramon, between Ramon and the project, were still in existence. it doesn't look to me like in the new plan that there are street trees, or that the trees are being pulled out, or there aren't any trees in there, I don't even remember. But my concern is that just wiping out a section of landscaping to look into this, thank you, Dana, it is not the right thing to do. I mean, at a car level or a pedestrian level, you're going to see through the trees anyway. And to me, the filtered look into the park is more interesting than just a wide open, blatant look into it. So and I know you're not the landscape architect. Unless you have, well, even then, a nice fence helps.
Chris,
and-
may I just interrupt you for a
Sure.
second on that one? What about the noise? I mean, wouldn't the trees help block out noise too? I mean, isn't there going to be some noise coming off of
It's
this?
probably minimal.
Oh, okay.
The last thing, and it was something that everyone touched on, was the security issue and the vision issue. It would seem to me, logically, that video cameras are great, but there's nothing like having the feeling of being seen and the ability to see. Even though I know you can't see everything in that park, that kiosk, to me, should be wide open. I mean, it should see the pool, it should see the skate park, it should not be a series of little windows. It should not, the area that's marked as the visual area to the skate park is called a concession. Well, which means you're selling stuff out of there, and, you know, you're not doing what I think that area needs to do, which is to have a vision to observe the park. And so to me, that should be complete vision. And that was my comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Anything else?
Well, I'd like just to add that I'm an extreme supporter of the project. It may not sound like it, but I really am. And I think it's a great project. And anything we can do to make it go faster is, I'm all in favor of.
I think everything that was said was constructive criticism, not criticism. Okay. Do you know where you are, Mr. Reddy? Yes. Okay. Want to take a break or move on? All right.
I've been taking breaks.
Next project, next
Thank
traffic
you.
comment.
Madam Mayor, what we would like to explain at this point is bring before you again our traffic calming policy. We had an initial discussion with this several months ago. We sent it back through our process based on your suggestions for some refinements. I would just like to note a couple things, and then we're going to have a brief presentation from the city engineer. This comes to us by way of several...
Thank you for coming. Sorry.
It's quite all right. Yes. This comes to us by way of several neighborhood individuals and organizations who have had in their neighborhoods and communities what they felt was severe issues of traffic, and it could be anything from speeding to volume to noise. What we've tried to do is address those issues to the best we can. However, we are somewhat hampered by AR resources and abilities and laws and dollars to implement these things. Not the least of which is, although some residents on a particular street may want a traffic calming, for example, you put a stop sign on Street A, that will then increase the volume on Street B. So obviously there's an equity issue that we have to be concerned about as well. What we hope to do at staff level is to create a traffic calming policy, which you have seen and which is before you again, which will do a couple things. One, it will say to the community, to our city organization, and to the council members what our policy is in terms of how we react to citizen concerns and complaints. Our hope is to do this. A complaint comes in, we put it in our system, it has set criteria, so the residents will know what we have available as tools and how we can affect those tools to help them. I would note one caveat. We have done at least 3 pilot programs, if you will, and they have been relatively successful. And I think the community residents, one in Deepwell, another one in the tennis club, and one in the Sunny Dunes area, has been very pleased with what we've done. Combination of humps, sort of a moderate traffic bump, stop signs, and lines on the street. That being said, what we would like to do today is have you discuss any issues you have, and we will bring it to the next city council meeting for approval. One other piece I would just note, obviously there's a cost involved. Depending upon the issue, and again, this policy addresses it, if it's a minor cost, you appropriate every year in our street budget the ability to do some of these minor things. Obviously, some are much more extensive and expensive, such as traffic islands and things of that nature. One, it could come through a subsequent capital appropriation, or if that's not possible, the citizens, there's a mechanism in here for the citizens in that community or neighborhood, in essence, to pay for the improvements themselves, if it's not something that we can fund. So that is a possibility as well. So with that, I would just, before I turn it over, I would just direct your attention to, if I could, page 10 in the booklet. And again, this booklet will be available to all our citizens and neighborhood groups. At the top, the implementation process, that first paragraph, it just cites specifically that this traffic calming program is based on substantial community participation. And through our Office of Neighborhood Improvement, we are reaching out to citizens and neighborhood groups alike because this affects them, and we want this to improve their street and neighborhood. And so we will do none of these things without opening our arms, in essence, and getting our arms around the issues in that community, listening to their concerns and trying to solve those problems. So that is a hallmark of this program. And with that, I would turn it over to our city engineer, Mr. Barakian, for any additional issues, and he can answer some of the more technical questions. And David, if you could just go over the highlights, we will take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's about it. As Mr. Reddy said, council has seen this, I believe, 3 times, twice in study session and once at a council meeting. From the last council meeting, the council concerns have been addressed in this document. Specifically, if you want, I can go over, because there were only a couple of them, but if you already know or remember what they were,
Well, why don't we restate
need
them
to do
briefly,
those.
the
Okay.
issues council raised.
There was the famous page 10 had previously had a specific fee that was suggested. Council suggested that be changed to a general statement about a fee, and that when this is brought back to council, that it be accompanied by a fee schedule modification. So that change has been made. And when this does come back to council for adoption, it will have that fee schedule modification with it. There was also a council concern regarding that the fee notification or the estimate of the fee be included in the notification to the neighborhood that I believe Mr. Oden had a concern with, and that has now been specifically put in the program itself. Also, there was a council comments that the table on page 19 be changed under Median Island, which is the first one under level 2 measures. Previously, under reducing speed, that was listed as a maybe. Councilman Mills, I believe, said that really should have been a yes, because median islands do reduce speed, and in fact they do, and so that change has been made. The only other specific comment that council had, they wanted the city attorney's office to review the program, which has occurred. That was sent to the city attorney. Comments were received, and mainly they were questions and a meeting with the city attorney that we went over the questions to his satisfaction. There were a couple of minor comments and wording changes that were made to the program. The only other substantial change that was made is on pages 13 and 14. And in addition to the table on page 45, And that change includes, well, the change on all those pages are centered around a neighborhood participation, and if the neighborhood is volunteering to contribute portions or all of the construction costs, that should be considered in the prioritization worksheet to gain them points, so to speak, on that sheet. Because if a neighborhood is actually willing to fund more and more of a project, that project would then move higher up the list because the funding would be there rather than having to wait its turn based on total score. And so those basically are the changes that were made from the last time you've seen this. And we're willing to answer any of the questions or take any additional comments at this time before it comes back to you at a regular meeting.
Thank you. Council?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I don't really have a question. I do know that I have gone down Sunny Dunes and with the stop signs. I think it's perfectly fine. I think it solves the problem, that they were requesting, which
Yeah.
was a speedway through there. And it's not a big deal, so you stop twice, And certainly on Mesquite,
Mesquite,
that's certainly helped that area. So I think, so far so good. And I think it's a good policy to have. So.
Okay. Mr. Mills, anything?
Yes, David, just to say, and I think I said it before, it's an impressive document. And I think it opens up a lot of opportunities to the residential neighborhoods, and I think it'll get some very good use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else?
Madam Mayor, if I may
Yes.
say one thing, I would like to, both presentations this evening, I think were well done. And I would like to thank all our staff. We're really moving forward on some of these initiatives, and as you can see, they've taken flight. And finally, I would just like to note Jerry Carter is in our audience. Jerry Carter is our Assistant Finance Director. This is his last meeting with us. Mr. Carter has been appointed Finance Director in the city of Indio. So we would like to thank him for his service to the city. Thank you, Jerry.
Wow. Thank you.
And congratulations and good luck on your new position. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. And with that, we will adjourn tonight's study session. Thank you.